I never thought I was going to be an NFL player, but I said I may make it 2 or 3 years, and then be gone. But, my career kind of just kept on going. But the thing is, wow, even to this day, I sit and I think, how did I do it? I'm a little guy, man. I grew up in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, and my high school coaches didn't even think I was big enough to play running back. 147 pounds as a sophomore, they stuck me at quarterback instead. I had to fight my way onto that field at my own natural position. By the time the Dallas Cowboys made me the second overall pick in 1977, I'd already won a national championship and a Heisman Trophy at Pitt, and I still had people wondering if I was tough enough to survive in this league. I scored a touchdown on my very first NFL carry, a 59-yard run against the Cardinals, and I think that answered the question pretty quick. People ask me all the time who the legends were that I admired most coming up through this game. And I'll tell you something, my answer's never really about the players everybody expects me to name. It's about the men who were actually there with me, in the trenches, in the huddle, or chasing the same records I was chasing every single Sunday. Before I get into this, I want to mention something. This is part of a series where we've been sitting down with the legends of this game and letting them tell you exactly who left the deepest mark on them. No scripts, no filters. If you haven't caught the others yet, go check them out after this one. And go ahead and hit subscribe now, because I promise you, every single one of these guys has stories just like the ones I'm about to tell you. Now I'll tell you, this list isn't the easy one people expect from me. I'm not going to sit here and give you 5 Hall of Fame names just because they're famous outside of Dallas. I'm going to give you the men who actually shaped what my career became. Whether that was somebody clearing a path for me, somebody I trusted with my life on the field, or somebody chasing the exact same yardage I was chasing every single season. Number 5, Tony Hill. I always told Tony and the rest of our receivers the same thing. Y'all don't have to knock a man down. Just get in the way. Make them change direction. Make them hesitate for half a second, and I'll do the rest. On my 99-yard touchdown run, a play that's still tied for the longest run in NFL history and can never be broken since the field's only 100 yards long, we actually had 10 men on the field because our fullback didn't make it out in time. Tony and Drew were the ones trying to get downfield and clear guys out of my way on that exact run. That's trust, handing your whole game plan over to receivers who understand their job isn't always about catching the football. Sometimes it's about making sure the man behind him gets home. Tony wasn't just a blocker for guys like me, though. He built a real career of his own out there. In 1979, he and Drew Pearson both hit 1,000 receiving yards in the same season, right alongside my own 1,000-yard year, which made us the first team in NFL history with 2,000-yard receivers and 1,000-yard back all in the same season. Coach Landry used to call him our home run hitter, and he meant it. 3 Pro Bowls, nearly 8,000 receiving yards over his career, and knack for adjusting to a football in midair that Landry said he never quite seen from anybody else. That's the kind of receiver. Tony was dangerous enough to demand his own coverage and still humble enough to go block somebody on my behalf when the situation called for it. Number 4, Ed Too Tall Jones. Ed was one of my teammates for basically my entire career in Dallas. And I mean that the way you talk about a brother, not just a locker room acquaintance. That man stood 6'9", and he anchored our defensive line for years while I was trying to do my job on the other side of the ball. What I always respected about him was the consistency. Every single year, whether we were winning big or fighting through a rebuild, Ed was out there doing his job the same way. Getting to catch up with him at Old Timers events decades later, seeing how the fans still react to him walking through a room, that tells you everything about the respect that man earned in this league. Now here's something a lot of younger fans don't even know about Ed. Right after the 1978 season, when I was still building my own career in that backfield, Ed shocked all of us and walked away from football completely to go chase a professional boxing career. He was 28 years old, in the prime of his game, and he told the whole organization he needed to find out if he could make it in the ring. He went 6-0 as a heavyweight, 5 of those by knockout, fighting on national television, and then he came right back to us for the 1980 season like he'd never left. If anything, that year away made him better, sharper, more disciplined than before. He went on to make 3 straight Pro Bowls after that, from 81 through 83, and finished his career with 106 sacks in 232 games played, never missing a single one in 15 seasons. That's the kind of man Ed was, secure enough in who he was to walk away from the NFL at the top of his game just to prove something to himself, and disciplined enough to come back and be even better than before. Those two men were right there with me every single Sunday, clearing paths and holding down our side of the ball. But the next name on this list, that situation was a lot more complicated, and I think people deserve the honest version of that story instead of the simple one. Now I know some of you are going to wonder how I can call this next man somebody I admired, considering everything that happened between us in Dallas. I want to be honest with you about it, because pretending it was simple wouldn't be fair to either one of us. Number 3, Herschel Walker. In 1986, the Cowboys brought Herschel in to share the backfield with me, and it created real tension. I won't lie to you about that. He was making more money than I was on the new contract, and it started cutting into my playing time after I led this team in rushing for 10 straight seasons. That's a hard situation for any player to sit in gracefully. But here's what I want people to understand. Herschel was a tremendous talent, a Heisman winner just like I was, and even with all that tension between us, I never stopped respecting what he could do with a football in his hands. Sometimes admiration and frustration exist in the same place at the same time, and I think that's just honest football. Two proud men trying to do their job in a situation neither one of us fully chose. Number 2, Eric Dickerson. I retired after the 1988 season, and it wasn't long before Eric passed me on the all-time rushing list. That man became the fastest player in the history of this league to reach 10,000 rushing yards, doing it in 91 games, faster than Jim Brown, faster than Barry Sanders, faster than Emmitt Smith would do it years later. I'll be honest, watching somebody come up right behind you and blow past records you spent your whole career building, that's not always an easy thing to sit with. But I respected exactly what I was watching, because there's no faking that kind of production. Eric was doing something special, and even as he was chasing down numbers I put up myself, I understood I was watching one of the great backs this league would ever produce. Now, before I give you my number 1, I want you to think about this. I've already told you about 2 men who chased the same yards I was chasing. Go ahead and put your guess down in the comments for who I've got at the very top. Because if you know your 1977 draft class, you might already see this one coming. And if you're new here, hit subscribe, because we've got a lot more of these legends still coming. This last name, we came into this league the exact same year, drafted one right after the other, and for years afterward, we were both quietly checking the box scores every single Sunday to see who was ahead. That's not something coaches or reporters made up to sell a rivalry. That's something the two of us lived every single season. Number 1, Earl Campbell. Earl's one of my buddies, and I mean that with everything in me. We came into this league together in 1977, him going to Houston, me going to Dallas. And for years, we competed against each other for yardage, checking to see who had more at the end of every single season. That's a real rivalry, the kind where you respect a man so much that you can't help but measure yourself against him. Running the football the way Earl ran it, straight through grown men instead of around them, that's a different kind of toughness than what I brought to this game. And I think that's exactly why we pushed each other the way we did. Getting to catch up with him decades later, still talking football, still laughing about those old seasons, that's a friendship built on respect that started with 2 rookies chasing the exact same thing back in 1977. There's no other back from my era I measure myself against more, and I don't think that's ever going to change for me. So there it is. Tony Hill, the receiver who cleared my path on the longest run this league will ever see. Ed Too Tall Jones, a teammate who anchored our defense with the same consistency for his entire career. Herschel Walker, a complicated situation, but a talent I never stopped respecting even in the middle of real tension. Eric Dickerson, the man who passed my own records and showed me exactly what the next generation of this position looked like. And Earl Campbell at the top, my buddy, my rival, the man I measured my entire career against from the very first season we both stepped onto an NFL field. Now, I already know some of you are going to say I left somebody off this list. Maybe you think Herschel deserved a higher spot. Maybe you've got a Cowboys teammate you think I forgot about entirely. Go ahead and tell me down in the comments where you think I got this wrong. And if you don't agree that Earl Campbell belongs at the very top, you better bring a real argument, because that rivalry started in 1977. And every single year we ran this league, I was watching that man's numbers just as close as he was watching mine.